All right, welcome back. Today is another day, and we are going to be working on the 90 today. I think it's time to do the heater core. We got other things out and done. We're going to pull out the dash today. As you can see, everything's still in place. While it's all out, I'm going to do a couple other things. I'm going to clean the carpets. I'm going to probably take out the front seats here and shampoo the carpets while everything's more accessible, just so it's nice and fresh. And I also have, this is the old, for the old school people, this is the Bill's Cat style shifter. I think 034 bought out the, they licensed it, I guess, what you would call it. They bought the rights to produce it, but it's kind of cool. So this will go as a short shifter for this one. I don't know if you can tell, but first gear should be like way over here, but it's kind of like right there, like where third should be. And as a matter of fact, like, it's hard to find third because like I can't put it where first should be. This probably isn't the right solution for this problem that we're having, but it is a while I'm in there kind of thing. So while this is all out and whatever, we'll put that in just because this is a nice, these are actually made with like, so this is like an OEM Mark I Rabbit shifter, whatever. And then it's got this little plate that just holds that in there so it doesn't pop out. And then, yeah. And then this is the actual, the rod is actually the stock rod that goes in here. So it's kind of a cool little setup. It works decently well, and it'll make it nicer. Instead of this long throw here, it'll probably be more like so we'll see. But we'll do that and maybe play with the linkage a little bit eventually. That might also be one of those things I take it back to Ben's shop and put on the lift and have two people, so like one person could be putting it in gear and the other person can be adjusting the linkage. So I'll make Ben be the guy adjusting linkage. But yeah, so we'll pull out the dash, pull out the heater box, we'll replace the heater core, and then reinstall the new dash that doesn't have cracks and doesn't have all that stuff, and it should be looking pretty again. That's the plan. Generally, if I'm going fast and going hard at it, I can do this in about 4 hours. It might be a little bit smaller or shorter pace. I do want to recover the heater core flaps, and I also want to shampoo the carpet like I mentioned, and so those things do add considerable amounts of time. So when you're taking your time and really, you know, focusing on everything else that you can do while you're in there, it takes a little longer. So it might take a little bit longer than that. Hopefully the weather holds out for that time and we should be good to go, and then we'll have a new fresh heater core. Then I can fill it with actual coolant. Right now it's just filled with distilled water, and I was trying to flush it through a little bit and get some of the old junk out of there anyway. And then we will move on to actual coolant, and then we'll start driving it a little bit. Take it out on the road and see how it does and see how it feels. We do need to do some suspension work in the sense that we need to replace the top mounts. Other than that, everything else felt really tight. So we'll get working. Okay, it is 11:45, well, it's 42, and we started at right around 11. So dashboard's out. This is one of the main reasons why you want to replace these. They often are missing the flaps there. So we'll rebuild that heater box as well. And we're gonna clean up all the carpets and stuff while we have this all out. And we're gonna remove just that section right there. We're not gonna remove the whole box, just this section. So we'll detach that, and yeah, I might try to shampoo carpets sooner than later because it is a bit cloudy and it's not as warm as I thought it was going to be. So I'd kind of like to get that drying process starting sooner rather than later. So I might try to speed that process up, take a hiatus, clean, and then do the rest of the heater core action. So yeah, we might pop out the seats next, I think. All right, so it is, what time is it? It is 1:40. We took a quick, we took a quick lunch, but I did, before I left, sorry, go, the other one is not going. Before I left, I got the box out. So there it is. Okay. Before I left, I didn't have time to show it, or actually the battery was playing tricks on me. There are, there's normally a stud here and a stud straight down there with these two nuts on them. You got to remove those. You got to remove the Heatercore lines, and then you got the whole Heatercore box. I do this in a different way. You technically can take out that whole box. Generally, when I'm doing it, I just take out the half box. You can pop off most of these clips while it's still attached, and all but basically these back ones are on, and because they come off when you turn it, it's not a big deal. These are the two studs that I was talking about that poke through the firewall there. So those poke through and then you have it. This is an original made in West Germany Heatercore, so it's pretty old. But yeah, here's the box. We're gonna redo all these flaps because they have failed after 30 years. All the adhesive has stopped and this stuff is slowly being blown out of the vents. So now is the time to replace that. So we'll do a quick rebuild of this box before we reinstall it. All right, quick thing. So this is the Heatercore box out of a B3. This is actually out of a different car, but the principle, this is actually out of the Titan car. Principle's the same here. So I didn't show this very well, but this is the entire heater control box. This section houses the Heatercore, as you can see. This is actually the blower motor, the air intake. There's also the AC, what is it? Condenser? No, not dryer, not compressor. Oh, it is the condenser. AC condenser is in there. Now, if you want to remove the whole box, you have to remove the AC lines. I didn't want to do that on the 90, so I just removed the half box. And on that, you have these two that poke through the firewall. You also have the Heatercore lines that go through the firewall. You have to remove, there's a rubber bit that goes around these, and it's actually on there pretty good. So you'll want to remove that. And then you'll also obviously remove the hoses. Once that is out, you have this. Or once you have those off, you can remove this section. Now, on the 90, there's also a bracket right here that kind of sits, that bolts to the dash, and it's one of the hanging brackets that holds the dash and the under parts. There's like 3 10mm bolts along the top of it that you'll remove. You can remove that whole thing. Then what you're going to want to do is there should be a clip, like this one's missing, but there's another one right there, and there is another one down in there. These ones are pretty easily accessible. What you can do is if you have a flat blade, or I like to use picks, but basically you can't really see it. On this side over here, there's an edge. Let's see. I'm just gonna try this. So this is just a small cheap pick, but basically you can grab it right here and then just give it a pull. And that pops right off. And the same thing here, you just get behind it. I don't want to do it because it's going to fall apart. And then when you're putting it back together, it's kind of the same thing. One side just kind of clips over, and then you can just press it with your screwdriver or something, and it'll pop back on. That thing, clip went flying. Don't know where it went. Or else I'd show you that. But yeah, basically you just line these back up again, and then you put the one half of it over it, hook it on there, and then just press the side down. Again, flat blade screwdriver's nice, just push it back on. So there you go. All right, shampooed, letting it air dry a little bit. We're coming to this now. So I'm gonna start rebuilding this box. Basically, there's a whole bunch of these little clips here. They're easy to pop off. One side has a little lip. You basically just pop off that lip, and then these have to kind of be pried, and they can be separated. You also have to take off these two, well, one of these two. And yeah, and then we can really get into the heart of this thing and start removing the stuff that's already been removed itself. So we're going to do that now, and then we'll replace the actual, let's see if I can do this. There we go. I'm actually really impressed. This is an original Heatercore, and it actually looks really nice. I mean, considering I've had a lot of these that break and die, but obviously you can see that is beginning to crack and get nasty, but a lot of times they're just cracked down here and leaking all over the place. This one's actually intact, so impressive, but it's going in the trash and we have a replacement. Show, like, this is just my hands, and I'm able to literally just break this apart. It's actually like the coolant is soaked into the material, and it's just like super like kind of squishy. So anyway, if it's definitely time, even if it hadn't actually failed yet. So anywho, this is garbage. Put in the new one. Move on. So now that all the clips are off, this is what I generally do. I kind of just slide a small flat blade screwdriver under this little lip, and then I just slowly, let's see if I can show, pull it outward like that. So now that's past that little lip, and I've just done a couple of these, and as I slowly work my way around, this whole thing will just split, like boom, just into, and then we can take out our panels, we can clean them, and we can recover them. So we're just gonna pop these in here and just turn off music so it doesn't be like, oh, you're stealing music. But yeah, I just kind of get it under that and then just spread it. See, now this whole side is pretty open. I remove that top one, so I remove that so that's able to be moved. These are all sliding out. I just got to keep working my way around this whole thing, and then the whole thing will just pop into two. All right, so here we are, split open. This is the top, this is the bottom. One thing you always got to watch, make sure these pegs, studs, stay in place, and make sure that when you put this back in, you put it in the right direction. You actually can install this the wrong way, and it'll bite you. Ask me how I know. So yeah, like I said, most of this stuff is just falling off. So we'll just peel the rest of it off. And then I have some, it's actually similar stuff. It's ducting, it has an adhesive backing. It's just from Home Depot, and it works really nice to recover this stuff and get it nice. So like I said, we'll peel off what we can peel off. We'll clean off what doesn't clean off, or what doesn't peel off, and then we'll recover it, reassemble it, and put it back in the car, and then we'll have another 30 years of heat and proper ducting. All right, quick change. So the last Heatercore that I did in the Titan car, I used both a silver ducting tape, and I also put over that the foam tape I was referring to earlier. I couldn't find my foam tape, so we just did the duct tape. This is the other method that most people like, and again, it completely stops the chance of any holes developing. That foam isn't gonna, there's no foam to deteriorate or anything like that. So since that's what I had, and since the world is in a weird state of place right now and things are on lockdown, I'm not gonna go to the store and I'm not gonna go get that. I'm just gonna use what I have because it does work, and we'll just do it that way. So there you have it. New Heatercore is installed. Everything's back assembled, clipped into place, and then we're gonna go put this back in the car. Okay, so this is all in here nice. It actually went in really, really smoothly. Carpets are still drying. We got this one. It's kind of ready to go in, other than the fact that I actually have to remove some of the stuff that I just left on from the junkyard. So remove those bits real quick. Oh crap. I also need my stabilizer part here that's on the other dash, so I'll have to take that off the old dash, but more or less everything else is here. So yeah, we're gonna install that momentarily. All right, I'm gonna stop at this point. I gotta get changed and do other things, and what time is it? I think it's like 3. Yeah, so it's about 3. We have about 4 hours into it, which isn't bad considering we also rebuilt the box and then we also shampooed stuff. It's actually just reassembly time. So dashboard's in. It needs to be put in place. The wiring needs to be connected, but everything is actually in place. And then of course we'll have to do center consoles, that stuff. But it's the hard part is done. It's just going to be all the little stuff and putting in the center console and stuff. So we'll get to that another time. But that's going to be all for today's bit of work. Okay, so I'm reinstalling consoles, but I'm switching things up a little bit. It's kind of funny, in the Sport 90, there's only like 2 things that are like wood. And it's the little console surround that surrounds the climate control, and then the lower gauges and stuff. So I decided I'm just going to plastic dip them. So this is what plastic dip is. But basically you get a nice clean matte finish. It looks like plastic basically, but that'll be the surround piece for that. And then I sprayed these. They're still covered, but it's really, really nice because it's a peelable kind of thing. And so you can literally just spray right over the glass, and then you can literally just peel it right off, revealing your gauge. It's hard to do with the camera here. So there it is. Boom. So now we got those faces, and we'll do the last one here in a second. But that will look nicer. And then we're using the center console. This one has a nice US spec only leg rest, you know, because your American fat legs get super fatigued, so they engineered a pad for us. We appreciate it. Thanks, Audi. This is just for my European friends. We got the OEM original Audi cup holders. Well, they were on the B4s here in the US, not the B3s, but since the consoles are the same, we can put them in. Now there's little lips here, I don't know if you can see it. Those actually kind of go under this lip. See, the best way to do this is actually kind of take it an angle. I can't do this with one hand, but kind of come out like this and have this sitting under that lip already, and hold it and then force it up and under that lip. So I'm going to do that while it's not recording. There it is, all installed. Now I can have a can or some kind of drink in my car without it spilling all over the place. Amazing. It's afterthought at its finest. Kind of funny, but I found a Heatercore in all these adventures, and it actually has the original, I think they called it a valet key, but I mean it's an original, oh, it's not going to focus, but it's an original Huff key, and it's literally like, it's got the original cuts on it. It's 100% never used, and yeah, kind of crazy. All right, we're going to call this a wrap on the Heatercore. Door card's looking good. Car's looking good in general. We got the new dash in. Got everything back and installed. Got a new heater. Heatercore. We got those all painted. We actually have a place where you could, you know, stow your cell phone here instead of the stupid ashtray that is helpless. Yeah. Overall, it's transformed quite a bit inside the car. Looks really good. It runs, drives. We do need to burp the cooling system, but maybe we'll just go take it for a drive and let it do it itself. See what happens. All right, let's take it for a quick drive. We'll take her, we'll get some gas, and then we'll take her on the freeway, and hopefully she'll be up to temp by then. We can just do a quick pull, see how it goes. Feels so nice. I don't think we need the wipers. All right, here we go. All right, little post systems check. Got good oil pressure. We got good oil temp for how short everything we did. And yeah, took it for a quick spin. Worked out well. So yeah, we got some more work to do, but it might be brakes. The brakes feel old. I was trying to get them kind of cleaned up and worked on. Definitely had some rust to grind off, so we'll see how they look now, but got a feeling we'll just replace all that stuff. So yep, thanks for watching.